fellow countrymen and women, these are our ministers and permanent secretaries at the front bench, representing the various ministries and answering the questions that matter to us. Join the conversation. This is the front bench.
Well, this is the front bench, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for keeping it UBC TV. Once again, I am Jethro Kasaiji. Our topic tonight is powering industries and communities through smarter energy, readiness. I do have the authorities from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, together with the manager from UEDCL. They will be answering most of your questions. You can send in your questions on 0709 6025 92. At a later time on the show, I will be sampling some of them, but also don't forget that we are coming to you live as well on all our 11 radio platforms. So the show is live on TV, live on YouTube, live on X, but also live on the different 11 radio stations that we do run and command as the public national broadcaster. PS Engineer Irene Batebe, thank you so much for sparing time. A lot of things are happening within the country when it comes to electricity. When you talk about electricity, Kenyans are most interested in knowing why are there blackouts, why are there this, why don't we have enough? Before you know it, we do export some electricity to certain countries. Why are we doing that? But let's first look at the current regulatory and policy framework. How adequate is it to support the rapidly expanding energy needs for industries, SMEs, and rural communities?
Thank you, Jethro, for having us, and it's always a pleasure to be at UBC. As the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, we want to start by reaffirming our commitment to ensuring efficient service delivery to the people of Uganda. And in relation to the question you've posed on the legal and regulatory framework and how that is supporting our access to it, and to highlight that indeed our energy policy over the years has delivered, especially on aspects of growing our generation capacity. Today, despite the bottlenecks we are facing that we will discuss later in the show, we are happy to inform the country that Uganda is generating sufficient electricity. We are currently generating about 2,059 megawatts of electricity, having grown more than 70% since 2020, speaking again to the government's policy of expanding our generation capacity. In addition to expanding that generation capacity, we've seen a growth in our transmission network from about 2,500 5 years ago to over 5,000 kilometers of transmission network. So, and then on the distribution side, we've seen our access levels grow from a dismal about 40% to 60%, where we are today, with 22% on the grid and 38% off-grid. That is the solar home systems and other solutions that we have, mini grids for islands and remote areas like Lamo and some areas in Kasese. So overall, there has been growth in the electricity subsector, and thanks to the government's policy of ensuring investment is attracted and also government funding alongside the private sector in electricity subsector. Now, in terms of going forward, we have reviewed our energy policy. Because of the ambitious industrialization agenda that we have as a country, in 2023, supported by Cabinet, we reviewed our energy policy and we've set new targets. So we want to grow our generation capacity from the current 2,059 megawatts about to 52,000 megawatts by 2040. Why are we doing this? We are seeing a rapid growth in the economy. UEDCL presented to the ministry its report, its quarterly report, and We were astounded at the growth rate at 13% per annum on the demand side, jumping from about 10% a few months ago. So that speaks to the rapid growth in the economy, and we must match it on the energy and electricity side. So for us to achieve this 52,000 megawatts, we will be diversifying our energy mix. Right now, 93% of our electricity is renewable, largely hydropower, and we want to diversify that to deploy additional solar power. We are along the equator. We must tap into this solar. We want to also deploy our geothermal resources going forward, where we boast of several geothermal capacity in terms of resource, especially in areas of Panyimur in Pakwach, but also in Chikube, Kibiro, where we are doing exploration work. So we want to materialize that geothermal into actual power supply. We also will be deploying nuclear energy because for the 52,000 megawatts, the bulk of it at 24,000 megawatts will be renewable, and we need to complement it with nuclear energy power at 24,000 megawatts as part of that 52,000 megawatts. So we can give to the country that on the energy security side, the government has solid plans to continue expanding our generation, transmission, and distribution.
All right. Before I cue in the MD, PS, you did talk about sufficient electricity that you are producing. You talk about that 20% growth, right? That is from 2020, right? Now let's talk about the percentage of the low connections. We do have about 25.3% or about 30% of those that are actually connected on the national grid. But on those, about 15% are actually enjoying the reliable electricity we are talking about. Hence, you telling us that sufficient electricity and the rapid growth, how do Ugandans connect all these to ensure that they do believe what you're telling them?
Again, in terms of this energy policy, we are keen to ensure that we address along the value chain the other key enablers, especially on the distribution side, where we are working with you to support the company. Okay. So we are keen on the distribution side to ensure that the current challenges of intermittent power supply are addressed through investment and other interventions within the company that we are looking at, including deploying digital solutions to bring efficiency to the company's operations.
All right, MD, let me cue you in right now. The PS has elaborated what government is doing to ensure that Ugandans have enough power supply in their communities to run their businesses. UEDCL, you took on the mantle from Umeme.
Yeah.
Let's start by understanding what you have achieved so far, part of the things you've put in place that Ugandans have to recognize and say, okay, we had the change from Umeme, now we do have UEDCL taking on the mantle.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers again. Let me start from takeover. The takeover of Umeme was one of the concession activities that we took on the 1st of April. But before that, we had taken over 5 private operators, and they were operating in all the areas outside the Umeme concession. So in the principle, on the 1st of April, it was an addition to some of the areas we are operating. It so happens that Umeme was mainly serving in urban centers. So the findings that we got aligned with the decision which was done in 2022 to stop Umeme from investing. That over 200 transformers had failed. Some of them were at a verge of failing. So we've worked on them, replaced them. Quite a number of transformers are overloaded. As we speak, we've now injected about 132. Some are still work in progress to expand on the distribution substation. But in total, we are targeting to inject about 518 in our first phase of injection. Also, we established that more than 11 big substations. If I talk about substations, if you can take an example of Queensway substation, Mutunde substation, Mulago substation, and in that category. But we found about 11 on the distribution side, they were heavily overloaded above 80%. That any trip beyond that, 1 or 2 feeders is subject to tripping. That's when you could see fluctuations. So by the time we took over, where the network had entered a phase in the utility, what is called instability. Instability is fluctuation before you enter into load shedding, because the areas we're experiencing fluctuation is calling for investment. That's when we've come in now, and that's the journey we have started. And so far it is fair moving as planned, although what we've appreciated and what the population has to appreciate, that we are dealing with the civil works. In the civil works, there is planning and deploying materials plus execution. And in the space for deploying materials, that's when you go procurement, order for stock. We've awarded contracts worth 280 billion supplies of materials. Most of these materials, they've been shipped, they're on sea. Some of them are also being manufactured here. I can tell you we've given contracts to the manufacturers of transformers, and industry area is busy now in the factory for transformers. Even in meters, they're quite busy. The same applies to conductors. Those 3 elements, we are mainly manufacturing them from here. So our investment has also added another flavor of bubu, plus also creating employment. So we believe that in the next 6 to 9 months, when those materials are being deployed, we can see some good sanity, very good sanity.
All right.
Yes.
Now, MD, we are talking about a company, UEDCL, that has been in place for now 24 years, right?
Yes.
You've talked about what you've done so far, and we must appreciate. But let's talk about how you managed to ensure that there is that improvement in reliability areas, more so the rural areas, because the outages out there, there are quite many in rural areas. So as UEDCL, what are you doing to ensure that indeed there is that reliability in those areas?
Actually, some rural areas, we have stabilized them. If I can give an example of one of the rural area, Karamoja. Power availability in Karamoja is over 99%. Another rural area is Nguru. Guru unrest is a very local issue, working with the transmission, power supply in Guru, and the neighboring leader district is fairly much more stable. We are only facing challenges where the feeders at 33 kV are overstretched in distance and are overloaded in loads. And now that comes to what we call Abanilulo. Abanilulo. The not very rural, but Abanilulo. Just from the major urban, you enter into the Abanilulo. With the Abanilulo, we have feeders. If I can give an example of Mitiana feeder from Mutundwe, where it is starting from, it starts from the urban, over-congested, overloaded. By the time it leaves Busega Natete, it is hitting now the maximum. So it enters the Abanilulo of Bujuko, Bulenga. That's where we start getting conductors overloaded and overheating. The tripping now comes into play. But what have we done in some of those urban lulos? We are doing what we call optimization of the current infrastructure. Optimization, I can say, where the substations were not properly aligned. For example, Kachiri, we've improved the load from 10 megawatts to 20 megawatts, times 2. Now the urban rural of the Kachiri surrounding Wachiso, Chikubampanga, and towards Galamba. They have stability on the major feeder. But what has come up again, as you stabilize the feeders, more load is pushed onto the transformers. So we are saying now, overall transformers reacting. How do they react? By bursting. They give way. And that's where we are going to invest over 518 transformers to stabilize. And those are the contracts we've given to our manufactured transformers to stabilize the last end. And some customers whom we've injected, specifically, there is a village called Namasanga. They wrote to us. There was poor voltage, and we've worked on them. Of recent, they sent a letter thanking us that the community is now happy, the voltages have stabilized, and others.
MD, we do have those who are appreciating, and it is very important, yes, by the way. Are you putting into consideration investing in the modern technologies, the smart meters, the digital mapping, remote monitoring to improve efficiency and reduce losses?
Actually, thank you very much. To the benefit of our user, our viewers, the smart business we're talking about is 360. We've deployed technology that monitors from our logistical movement, the staff, and the network. If I can talk about the staff, for any UEDCL staff that goes on the network, they go with a reference number. That reference number is generated from our works order management system. How does it come around? If a customer calls, it picks the location, and our staff is in position to follow that location and do the needful. In that case, we are tracking each and every staff, how they move in the field. That's one. Even the fleet they are using, those fleet, they are mapped on a GPS, and we are tracking them left and right. If I go to the customers, we've deployed technology that you no longer need to come to our office for any reason. If you are applying for power, you, in your sitting room, get your phone, apply online, we shall get a message, digital, we come to you, do the inspection, payment of your new connection services, you don't leave your home, you pay online, we come and connect you. But also, we are enhancing our smart technology. We've started deploying smart meters for the three-phase customers, that if you buy a token, all the meters we are loading out, you do not need to punch in that long 20-digit number. The energy will be loaded automatically onto the meter and not tokenized. After
paying direct, maybe on the or something?
Yes, on your phone, the message will automatically go on your meter, and you'll see it on your customer interface. You'll actually be seeing your money. If you pay 100,000, you'll be seeing 100,000 on your token, and as on your token read, and as you use, your money will be reducing gradually. Why?
Is that the best we can go for, MD, maybe to understand better?
Yeah, why are we starting that? Because the three-phase customers, they have to benefit on the time of use tariffs. At night, after midnight to the morning, the tariff is low. So we are implementing that facility. But at the same time, we are also deploying what we call data concentrators to monitor our transformers. We have just finished a pilot project in Chitintare, and it's on track. The results are quite good. What's going to happen? At any time T, 24/7, we shall be in a position to see the behavior of the transformer, how it is loaded, and all the smart meter customers who are connected on the transformer, how they are consuming. This one will enhance our technical loss management and commercial loss management.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, most of your questions are coming in. Maybe I should read one or two. This is, okay, he's called Kangai. I'm from Kangai Town Council in Dokolo District. The power line reached there, but we can't use it. Just 500 to 1,000 meters away from the main road. What can we do to extend power inside to serve the people? The amount of money they demand from us when we approach them, we cannot manage to collect. Please help us. Good evening, Jethro. I'm Rasul Idris from Zomba District. I want to ask, why is West Nile, why do they have unstable power, yet Nyagak has a lot to do for us, and why Wenreco are overlaying with free power connection in the rural areas? How much is the cost to acquire stable power in the region? West Nile is connected on the national grid. PS, I think you can take one or two, because my next question was about grid expansion. Please.
Thank you, and our viewers, for the questions that have come in. Indeed, we did extend and we concluded the transmission network to West Nile. And as we speak today, transmission is not a challenge for West Nile. We are now structuring a number of interventions on the distribution side under our different access programs to expand the grid. Specifically, we are implementing the electricity access scale-up project, where, supported by the World Bank and of course government of Uganda, we are deploying $638 million to undertake a number of interventions, including extending power to the underserved areas. We are also structuring specific interventions for West Nile. We will have a specific project that is targeting grid expansion in West Nile. So there is an opportunity, because the funding is available, especially under the Access project, and we are going through the procurement processes, again, for the contractors, and that takes a bit of time, but come next year, we should see many of these programs rolled out. Under the Electricity Access Scale-Up project, we target to make 1 million connections, and we will be targeting, apart from households for domestic use, we'll be targeting small and medium enterprises. We'll support the parish development model on the agro-processing part, but also the industrialists. That's one of our other target areas. So we are confident that as we roll out these additional projects, that we will cover the bulk of West Nile in the coming years of our project and NDP4, where we've prioritized grid expansion.
Yeah, PS, because if someone is talking about how much to pay to acquire stable, now that is the point also. It seems people really want to do whatever it takes to ensure that electricity, there is no blackout at all, but is that even possible?
And that's the work we are doing with UEDCL. It is possible. You heard from the managing director, under the interventions under the company, we intend to inject 518 transformers, but even under the Electricity Access Scale-Up project, we intend to also inject an additional 1,000 transformers. So in the next few years, we shall have an intensification and a densification as part of our intervention on the access side to bring stability. But as we extend the grid, we do encourage Ugandans to also venture out and look at the off-grid solutions, solar home systems. Under the same intervention supported by the World Bank, we do have a component where we are providing subsidized solar systems under the Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company. That is a government company that partners with a number of private financial institutions like Centenary Bank and others to ensure that we are able to distribute through energy service companies subsidized solar systems. So as we work to extend the grid, which of course takes a bit of time and is an expensive venture, we also interest Ugandans to look at these off-grid solutions as the government continues to expand the grid.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, allow us go for a short commercial break. When we do return, we shall continue diving into the subject matter, but also keep your questions and comments coming in. We shall have some time for them. The front bench continues.
This is the front bench.
Uganda's future is being written, and we're documenting it one headline at a time. On UBC News tonight, I don't just anchor the news, I help you understand it. We stand for integrity, for facts, for national progress. These elections are a turning point, and so is how we tell the story. Join me as we report the facts that will define a generation.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geographer we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation, when people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
Ugandans! The unstoppable internet deal of deals is here with MTN Wakanet Fiber. Connect your home with our starter pack of 100 Mbps at only 99k. And if you want more speed for less, we've got you. Get the 200 Mbps at only 129k. And the fastest one yet? Enjoy up to 500 Mbps at only 250k. To sign up, use the My MTN app or dial *100 *23#. Offer is valid till the 30th of November for both new and existing subscribers. Together, our connection is unstoppable.
Fellow countrymen and women, these are our ministers and permanent secretaries at the front bench, representing the various ministries and answering the questions that matter to us. Join the conversation. This is the front bench.
This is the front bench. Ladies and gentlemen, your questions are still coming in. Komakech Innocent, I have seen your messages, but maybe to sample a few of those. Thanks for the show. This is Odongo Joseph. from Tororo. We have many villages in my district where people have completely never received electricity. Is there hope that they will one time be connected, and what should they do to get connected as well? All right. Hello, this is Enoch Daka. Hey, thanks for the good work. My question is that why do we apply for electricity and it takes long to process? All right. Thank you. Is UEDCL also providing subsidized power supply to rural communities as was during rural electrification arrangement under UMEME? Okay, my guests will pick some of those and they will address them. Batale Habat from Namutumba Town Council, Budongo Zone, electricity is on and off, which is affecting our businesses. Why is it so, and what is the solution, please? Okay, thank you. Someone here from Mayuge, Ndondwe and Nakazigo are on the main road, but the electricity is connected on other places, limiting connection. When will UEDCL connect them? The transformer burst. This is Okolongo Tadeo from Mayuge. One last one. Hello, Mr. Mwesugwa Sultan Salim. I paid my electricity of that amount, 185,000, the names of Kakoz Abdallah, but since yesterday they haven't sent a token number. What's going on? Okay, keep your questions coming in. You will answer some of them. PS, you were still explaining about grid expansion, but what are you doing also as a ministry to reduce those delays in the expansions, to approve processes and project implementation, and as well you see how you're handling the load of fluctuations really?
Thank you, Jethro. And one of the questions touched on that. We were discussing earlier on the grid expansion program, and we want to comfort Ugandans that under this electricity access scale-up project, we continue to implement the free connections policy, where the government of Uganda pays for your connection for one pole and no pole. So as long as you're within a certain radius and you only require one pole or none, through UEDCL you're able to access electricity connectivity for free. What do you have to do? UEDCL maintains an online portal where you can apply, and once they've done the inspection of the premise, then the connection will be made. So we are aware of a number of agents, we call them Kamufus, who have been purporting to be UEDCL staff and have gone into residences and tried to extort money from citizens. So it's important that we clarify that the free connections policy is entirely free. You only pay for the wiring of your premises, and that shouldn't exceed about 53,000 shillings. So in terms of the process, that is done online, and the UEDCL, after they've done the evaluation, they then send teams to do the connectivity of that premise. So we wanted to emphasize the aspect of free connections provided by the government of Uganda. And as we speak, UEDCL has so far made about 166,000 connections. We gave them a target of 400,000 connections per month, and they are working hard to ensure they get to that figure in order for us to meet our target of 1 million connections under this World Bank program. And the MD can clarify on the process that they undertake as the company.
And about load fluctuations?
In terms of load fluctuations, that's what we have, the MD has discussed in terms of interventions. It is an investment issue. We are working to ensure that we inject additional transformers where these are overloaded, but also for new substations for overloaded areas. He highlighted, for example, there are plans to revamp the Majije substation. We are also planning to revamp Mutundwe substation so that we improve on the quality of supply of power, and many others that we have earmarked under our analysis done by the company.
All right, MD, your time now. Investors have expressed deep frustration really over the power blackouts, which has severely disrupted production across multiple factories. A lot of money has been lost. We did cover a story here. Last week you were in Mukono, if I'm not mistaken. You did say you've lost about 4 million units of electricity, translating into billions of shillings, but that is as a result of vandalism. So what are you doing as UEDCL to ensure that really these investors really put up that competition that they do deserve, but also Ugandans are benefiting from what is within the communities, because even those with small businesses are also crying. Some of them are saying, now what do we do, because they have to do this and do that when it comes to running their businesses.
Okay, thank you very much for that observation. The fact of the matter, the issue of vandalism is a national crisis, not only UDCA. And the action that happened in Mukono was extreme. It happened on the side of the transmission line, but it kicked out, or it disabled 3 substations, adding to 157 megawatts. 157 megawatt, it is equivalent to the electricity which was served by the time UEB was disbanded. That's a lot of electricity. And what was the cause? A team of vandals brought down transmission line, and we've lost 157. What we can only supply is about 15 megawatts. But even other areas, they've been affected by those activities of vandalism on the distribution side. What happened is, usually at night, a team of bad people, thieves, or bad wishers go on the network and cut different equipments. And our investors in the areas of Mukono and the surrounding part of Namave, some are off because the available power cannot be in a position to energize some of those factories. What we have, we've reserved only for domestic customers, because the affected number of customers is 128,000. Out of that, about 300 three-phase factories. So we weighed in and you say, it's better you should do a supply 90% of the population as opposed to 10, because we didn't want to have more insecurity in the area and other riots happening. So we engaged the manufacturers on the 20th, explained, visited the site, and we've worked out a plan with our sister company, UTCL. We believe this week the network will be up and running. That's on the transmission side. But on the distribution side, we are also heavily hammered by vandals. On average, every week we get a case. You can't imagine that a line covering a kilometer or 2 or 3 could be vandalized in a given area, for example, in Mitiana, Kasongola, and even last week.
How do we get to that, MD? Why are people vandalizing these properties?
There are so many reasons, but the arrest we've done, we've arrested 62 people. They are different. Some are economical, but to observation, there's a good percentage of sabotage. And that's why the government actually put that category. Whoever's caught vandalizing the network is termed as a terrorist because of their activities and their behavior. You can't believe, even if vandalization happens in Nakasero, just here in Kampala, they go on the line and they cut a piece of 1 meter. They leave the transformers off. To do what? Maybe to portray that UDCL is even unable to supply power in Nakasero, even in Mengo and the Koilo.
Haven't we got to the point, MD, of now ensuring that we put security officers now to man these transformers, because now we are losing a lot?
The answer is yes or no. We have 27,000 transformers across the country, and we have over 1 million poles across the country. The network is 87,000 kilometers. That means if you're to deploy servicemen, you need more than 100,000 servicemen. Now you compare with our police and the army, so we have other priorities. But what we are emphasizing, let this network be a community-based ownership. We have seen cases where wrongdoers go on the village, they purport that they are part of the utility service provider. Some of them are communicants, putting on different attires, not for the utility, and the community gives them access. So we've had such cases. So what we are saying to the community, whoever comes to do any work on the network, and you are suspicious, without a UEDCL ID, or without a moving fleet with UEDCL, first question them. We've seen cases where the community questioned the people. For example, in Kalisizu, the community questioned the people. They later to realize they were communicants and they were bad doers. They are arrested. Now they are in jail. So we've also seen some cases in Iganga where the community asked questions to the people and they were not forthcoming. They were arrested and put in, and at least the community was saved. So let this exercise be a combined issue. Actually, we've also seen the communities, power goes off at around 9, 10 in the evening. Tomorrow you see bad elements coming to ask for money. That's not how you UEDCL work. It means that the communicants or the bad doers were at night in the area. They switched off one side. Those are instances you find. Me on the upper side of the road I have, my neighbors on the road side don't have. Power went off at night. Then during the day they start pretending, give us money such that we can put you back. At UEDCL we don't advocate for
How
that.
are you working with the government? Yes, your government, but now with the ministry to ensure that you protect your image, MD? Because now if anything happens, even where you're doing good work, people like UEDCL, and this is the company you're manning, MD.
Actually, what we are doing with the government, it is part of this sensitization. Explaining to the population and passing the message for the people to know that it's our collective responsibility to protect and manage this network. For example, we've launched a campaign called the Waterers. You can't be surprised. People have voluntarily come up to say that me, I'm using free electricity. Over now, by today, we've registered 28,000 self-registration. They want to regularize. They've been using it for free, and we are normalizing them. At the same time, we are doing what we call energy loss sweeps, where our team go in the field, start digging out cables. You've seen our in some of the releases we are doing, digging underground cables. Who installed those? Bad doers. And what happens is, if you have such a network, there is a way it causes impact onto the main line, that you have connections which you are unable to account for them, and they cause overload transformers. When they're short circuiting, they cause fluctuation on the line. But the worst thing, they also cause safety matters.
MD, before I bring in the PS, I see she wants to add something onto that. Do you want to say that what you're telling us, does that also answer the issue of transformers that keep blowing? Who should be held accountable? Contractors, UEDCL, or limited regulatory oversight? But also, how do you curb that illegal connection, the power loss, without penalizing genuine customers now?
The first exercise we are doing to manage energy loss is to go and remove all the illegal conductors. Now, in this season, up to 31st of December, we got permission from the government to do what we call an amnesty. If you're found stealing power, you can register yourself, or if you find you stealing power, we just recover our equipment and leave you. But the Electricity Act 2022 as amended, as soon as the amnesty comes to an end, if you are caught stealing power and we find you, we shall arrest you, put you in front of court, utility court, you will be charged, taken to prison in order to protect the network. But the first question you asked, what is the implication of illegal activities on the transformers? There are some villages which we found in the eastern part where on the transformer there are only 3 legitimate customers. Over 100 they are still in power. So in our records, on the utility records, you might think you have a transformer for 3 people and it's just enough. But the illegal activities of more than 100 makes it blow. Even on Masaka Road here, the Insanene harvesters, they are very good in those activities. You deploy a transformer of 100 kVA. At night, they have mobile equipments. They move, load it times 5.
And we're in that season.
Within a minute, it blows. The following day, UD cells are hammered on the net or on the media. So what we are doing, we arrest the Insanene people with their equipments, drop them to the police to manage their characters. But we're also advising them to come legitimate, register with us, and we give them special connection.
All right, MD, allow me bring in the PS now. PS, you wanted to supplement on what the MD was saying about vandalism, the connection, the illegal whatsoever?
Yes, I wanted to supplement on the vandalism side.
Yes.
We are tackling this vice as the whole of government. It is critical. So we have put together a joint technical committee where we work with the security forces, because some of this vandalism is driven by the demand in the scrap industry, and it's important that we tackle the end user side. So with these partners, including security, we've been able to trace where some of this scrap or this vandalized material ends up. And in some instances, we've tracked it to factories. So we are working with the Ministry of Trade and Industry to put in place a regulation that will regulate the usage of scrap for industry. So that way we are able to control the demand side, and that should contribute to, again, curbing vandalism on the upstream side where our infrastructure lies. In addition to the community policing that the MD has highlighted, we are also looking at technology, especially for the transmission network. The distribution network is spread, but for the transmission network, we are looking at early warning systems that we can deploy on the system, and in case of any tampering, we are alerted, and we are able to tackle that within real time. For example, the vandalism that occurred at the Mukono substation, we could have intervened. So technology is going to be a key part of the solutions we are looking at. We attempted to deploy technology, UETCL attempted, and the first thing the vandals went for was the technology. So we are now looking at an advanced technology that cannot be vandalized first before they go for the infrastructure. So it's a multi-pronged arrangement that we are working on together with the rest of the security forces.
All right, before we go into the questions, Parliament approved about 425 billion from African Development Fund to export electricity to South Sudan. Are we really generating more than we can consume? PS, Ugandans need to understand this better.
Okay, so firstly, it's important to explain that power trade is a standard arrangement in the industry where countries trade in power for many reasons. Number one, it helps us to stabilize each other's networks. In case of a deficit in one country, the other country is able to support. It's a form of jump starting to get the other country back online. We've had instances where Kenya has gone off, and we've supported them from the Ugandan side to get their system back. But also they've supported us in some instances. So it is a national security issue to ensure that at any one time we are able to support one another. But critically, we are a part of the East Africa power pool. It's not only Uganda that is trading. We are 12 countries in this power pool where we trade. And when we trade, we of course make some revenue that we reinject in terms of our infrastructure development for electricity. So as we grow our national network and continue to grow our distribution network to reach every Ugandan, right now we have a semblance of sufficient power that we can trade to make some revenue and continue growing our national infrastructure. Otherwise, then that power would sit redundant somewhere, and that would have been a loss to the country. So through this trade, we are making some revenue, and it is supporting us on the utility side to run this infrastructure.
All right, MD, I'm coming to you. I'm going to sample out a few questions very fast. You will pick those that you can tackle, and then as we summarize, and then the PS will also come in later to answer a few, those that I will read out as we also summarize. The first one is, thanks for the show. I have a problem with UEDCL whereby I have applied for connection in Kasankala Trading Center, that is in Rakai district. When technical surveyor came on ground, they told them that they need 2 poles, a service whose costs it's over 5 million, which is too huge amount for a common man to be connected. Why can't government help people to get connected at a cheaper price, at least 1 million, which is affordable to individuals who are ready to get power? That is one of them. Good evening, my brother. I have a question for from Busitema village, Hableke in Busia district. Now we have no electricity since independence of Uganda, really. Last year they put poles on our village. To date, nothing has taken place. Power was not connected, and now the electricity poles have been eaten by termites, and all poles have fallen down now. All right. My question to the UDCL boss, is it possible to change the account meter name to another in case it is registered in your parent's name who died, and not to keep bringing fresh memories of the really? Okay, thanks for enlightening the country. My complaint is Kavule Masaka Road, Bulasunku village. We are suffering with power. Always power is off. This is Mubarak. Okay, why do workers of UEDCL ask for money, 100,000 to give out a meter, even though you have done all the process of getting a meter? This is John in Karuguza, that is Chibale. Last one for MD. Is the director is saying people that ask for money are bad people. Do switch the power off intentionally? Do people switch off power intentionally? But at times it is switched off by bad weather, and UEDCL team ask for money to put it back. MD, you can answer some of those. Also the PS will have his batch, really.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start with the 2-pole cost. So far, the government has secured funding where if you need 1 pole, you will only pay for inspection fee. That is 23,600 and 6,400, a total of 30,000, you will get a connection. So far, that's the funding which the government has raised. More than 1 pole, 2 poles, it is a full cost recovery payable by the customer who needs power. But if the neighbor needs power, you can first extend to your neighbor. After they've secured the 1 pole, you also apply thereafter in order to be within budget. The second issue that has been raised from Busitema, that since independence, there is no power, but there are standing poles without conductors and transformers. Some of those areas, they were supposed to receive power under the Rural Electrification Agency, but you remember there were issues of COVID, the funding were fairly destabilized, and that's why poles after being planted, funding couldn't flow, but the government, working through the Ministry of Energy, is working on that issue to be sorted out. There are more standing poles in some places where funding got destabilized a bit, but the ministry, the PS, will talk about it, how they are solving it out. Is it possible to change the account number of somebody who might have died? The answer is yes. You just need to write and attach evidence that the former person who owned that account, in this case, attach a letter of administration, because we don't want to transfer without evidence that actually this person changed. The third one, issues of bribery. Our services, they are paid for by the utility service. If you need a service from UEDCL, what you need to do is just give us a call. You get a reference number. Our staff come on board. If we are served, there's no cost charged in the field.
Okay.
Because our staff are remunerated from the company, but not from the field.
Okay.
And if it so happens, please just make an arrest of that person. We shall find him or her to the police, and we sort him out according to our HR manual.
Okay.
You are given permission, do a recording, video, to get evidence, and we shall handle. With our governance is very clear. We believe in the right principles of governance.
Okay.
Yeah, it is true, some areas, if the weather is bad, they could be affected. It's natural all over the world. There are areas where sometimes when the storm could be hard. But with recent, you can observe, it does not go anyhow. We've worked on that issue mainly to put what we call line clearances to manage the vegetation. But at the same time, for some few feeders, we can get an alternative that if this line is out, within a minute, you can be connected to the alternative unless the weather is too harsh. For example, the most recent weather in the mountain areas where the entire place flooded, landslides went up, even our poles couldn't stand the landslides. But we've restored the supply. Okay. We even had a case where our substation flooded. We worked on it for 18 hours, and the embarrassment was off, but later it was restored. Okay. So there are some harsh weathers that can cause problems. But we appreciate, with the effort, we've been restoring power fair on time.
All right.
Thank you.
PS, let me also sample for you some questions. One asked, why don't they give schools free electricity? This should be maybe a government school, but I think soon also the hospitals will ask. All right, I'm Sabit Julius. I paid for connection 2 months ago. Up to now, no one has come to do the inspection. I'm raising this matter from Kabade district. Okay, thank you. Good evening, James. I'm James from Mukono district here in Mukono. 1 week now without power. What happened? I think it was because of that meter that was really destroyed, the vandalism. Samuel from Tororo, how do we get electricity in my home village? Okay. Good evening, thank you for the program. The team in the studio is rightfully saying we have sufficient electricity. In fact, President Museveni recently also said in one of the campaign rallies in Bugisu that we are now producing excess electricity. My question is, why is Uganda's residential stroke domestic electricity prices more expensive than the world average? Data shows our cost is 108% above world average. This is Robert from Lira City. Let me sample more too. We don't have electricity since no. I think we answered that question to the PS. Please assure Ugandans that we have the manpower and necessary logistics to manage nuclear energy and that we are not bandwagoning merely to massage and assuage achiever egos without a well thought out plan. This is David from Entebbe. The last one, you are mistaken. It's here in the urban where we are suffering from the outage. In fact, it's very disappointing. And please ask if someone applied under the rural electrification program but was told the poles were not available. When is someone expecting them in Fort Portal? All right, PS, we shall not actually finish all these, but I've sampled a few. Kindly answer those and we'll close the show.
Okay, we shall tackle aspects of the cost of electricity. I listened in the outcry on the high cost, supposedly high cost of power.
Electricity in schools also.
And supporting schools. It's important to inform Ugandans that we have seen a steady decline in the cost of power, and recently we did, working with the Electricity Regulatory Authority, provide a further decline to support especially industrialists. And the question will be, why industrialists? Because they are our major off-takers. About 65% or so of our electricity goes to industry. So we've brought down the tariffs for industry to our target of 5 US cents per kilowatt hour. And today, for the extra large and large, they are able to really enjoy cheaper electricity. We've also provided a specific category of tariffs for public institutions and amenities, where we halved the tariff from about 700 or so to half, about 360 Ugandan shillings per kilowatt hour. What are we saying? We are saying that today we are continuing to onboard additional referral hospitals, schools, and other health centers to see that we are supporting the public institutions. So we are happy to discuss with these affected persons on how best we support them in regard to that tariff. And then for the domestic, we continue to maintain our lifeline tariff for the common user, those low-income earners. We do have a lifeline tariff, and we introduced a specific cooking tariff to really drive clean energy, to ensure that Ugandans are moving to cleaner energy. So the tariff, it is a factor of many drivers, including how we invest in the generation. So as government, we are keen to continue investing using cheaper capital so that we are able to drive down the cost of power. We saw it when we invested in Isimba and Karuma hydropower plant, using what we called concessional funding, some borrowing from China Exim Bank. We're able to achieve lower tariffs for Isimba at 4.1 US cents per kilowatt hour, Karuma at generation point 4.9 US cents per kilowatt hour, compared of course to the higher tariffs that we saw when we were driven by the private sector in terms of investment, Bujagali and others. So our strategy, as we continue to invest using cheaper capital, we should continue enjoying a downward trend of these tariffs. It is a journey that we are on, but at least the government has worked hard to continue that gradual and steady decline in the tariffs. Now, there was a concern on whether we have the capacity to drive our nuclear energy program. Yes, indeed, we have been on this journey for nuclear development for a while. We are working with the International Atomic Energy Agency, and along the way they've continued to approve us. It's a milestone-based approval, and we've now been approved to advance to the contracting for purposes of nuclear. Now, one of the key aspects that we are required to tackle is the human capacity development. So we are working with Soroti University, where we are setting up a center for nuclear science and technology, and the aim is to ensure that we are training a critical mass of Ugandans that will support the construction and operation of this nuclear facility and others that will follow. So the first one that we are targeting is in Wuyende, where we want to set up an 8,400 megawatt nuclear facility. So with that intervention, and of course within the ministry, we've grown our capacity. We've trained a number of nuclear scientists. We should be clocking about 30 soon, and we continue to build on that capacity. So we do note that concern, and I want to comfort the viewer that it is something that we are working on. There was a general complaint on issues of hanging poles and areas that have not accessed electricity. Again, in my opening remarks, I indicated that we have been able to grow our access levels to 60% today, and we still have 40% of the population that we are planning for to ensure that they have access to a form of electricity. Today, we have about 2.6 million Ugandans that are connected in terms of the connection levels, but our target is 10.8 million if we are to cover and achieve universal access. So we continue to invest in this intervention, and we are confident under our National Development Plan for Aggressive Plan that many of these will be supported to access electricity. But like I indicated, as we go on that journey of grid expansion, extending the national grid, we also interest Ugandans in the off-grid. So as the government works to get the electricity, invest, we need about $5 billion US for every Ugandan to have access to electricity on the grid. That will take a few years. So it is important that these other alternatives, solar systems, etc., that Ugandans also consider them as a source of electricity, because they do address the access challenge. So our access strategy is both on-grid but also off-grid, where we've even developed a number of mini-grids on islands like Namayingo, and we continue to implement many of these. We are now targeting another round of mini-grids that will also cover Wuvuma, Sigulu Island, and others. So the off-grid solution also remains viable to support Ugandans to ensure that they have a form of electricity as we extend the national grid.
Ladies and gentlemen, your questions are still coming in, very interesting, but of course we cannot answer all of them. But if you have followed the show, you need to see how best you can reach out to these officials through their social media platforms, UDCL, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. Some of your issues can surely be answered onto that platform. But for now, allow me to appreciate the Permanent Secretary. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Thank you so much, Engineer Irene Batebe. Thank you so much, Managing Director, Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited. Those who have been sending questions, thank you so much. Those who have been listening in to our different radio stations, thank you so much as well. Till next Monday, I am Jethro Kasaiji. Ciao.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand. Oh, Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give, and with neighbors all at our country's call, in peace and friendship we'll live. Oh, Uganda, the land that feeds us, thy sun and fast our soul grow. For our own dear land, we'll always stand. Capital of Africa's crown.
Uganda's future is being, and we're documenting it.